Hi friends, I'm John Laspina, your carnivore teacher, and I had a viewer who gave me a list of topics that he would like me to discuss in videos. So here's the first one: how to cut out carbohydrate addiction and never get back into the trap of eating them again. Good topic. Thank you, viewer. I can only talk about how it has worked for me and other people that I've talked to. When we consume any carbohydrates in the form of starch, which could be bread, potatoes, rice, beans, they all have starch. Starch is a long string of glucose molecules connected. When the amylase enzyme in our mouth and in our stomach touches the connections, it breaks apart, and there you have simple sugar, C6H12O6. You have glucose, the glucose that the pancreas recognizes, that the body sees. So if you're eating any bread, rice, pasta, beans, or potatoes, cereal, pancakes, you name the starch, you're eating sugar. You're eating glucose. Even if it doesn't taste sweet, it's glucose. And then if you're like I was, if you ate a lot of cake and candy and pies and cookies and things with added actual sucrose in it, you're adding all that sugar on top of it. Halloween candy, Christmas candy, birthday treats. I was a sugar junkie. So whether I took out the sugar and kept the starch, it didn't matter. I was giving myself sugar. I am a sugar addict. I'm a sweet addict. How did I get off of it? So what I did was I took steps. I did ketogenic diet first. And so I lowered my carbohydrates down. Instead of 200, 250 total carbohydrates, how did I know what my number was? I put an app on my phone. I typed in the names of the foods. The app told me how many protein, fat, and carbs there were. So I could count my carbs. I got a pie chart. Okay? If you track your macronutrients, then once you track it, then you know it. And once you know it, you can change it and control it. So my goal was to take that pie chart of protein, fat, and carbs, and take the carbs and shrink them way down from 250 grams a day, which is, I found out what I was eating with the standard American diet. I ate cereal, I ate pancakes, I ate Pop-Tarts, I ate pasta, I ate candy, M&Ms. I did this most of my life. I think my macros were up near 300 total grams of carbohydrates a day. Remember, they all convert to glucose, plus all the sugar that was added. So maybe I had 500 grams of carb. I don't know how much my glucose was, but I just know I was ridiculously addicted because I kept feeding it to myself. So once I started tracking it, my goal was to change that pie chart so that my total carbohydrate was 20 total grams or less, and that made my protein moderate and made my fat really, really high. Made sure I got a lot of healthy fats, moderate proteins, and 20 total grams of carbs or less. So I didn't give myself zero carbs, which would probably put me into major withdrawal. So I was giving myself some carbohydrates. And then I would have some berries, which have some sugars in them. And then I progressed into ketovore, which means I took out the berries. I took out any remaining carbohydrates that came from vegetables that I was eating. And I kept my total carbohydrates down to below 10 total grams a day. And then eventually I went carnivore, where if I put in all my foods, like today, what did I have? I had 3 pasture-raised eggs. 2 of them were just the egg yolks. I had leftover ribeye steak that I had cut up. And I had a little piece of wild-caught sockeye salmon. Lots of butter. I cooked it in butter. It looked like it was frying in butter. That was my first meal of the day today. That had 0 carbs. 0. According to that app, if I were to put it back into the app, I had no carbs. Now, maybe there was 1 or 2 grams in the eggs, but that's it. So if I had 2 grams of carbs, that's all I had for my first meal today. I'm okay now, but when I first started doing it, I would have these cravings. I wanted sugar. I wanted a snack. You have to push through the cravings by education. Knowledge is power. Once you ring the bell, you can't unring it. Once you know what carbohydrates are, you know what you used to eat and what your goal is of what you want to eat and where you are on that spectrum and how far you've come, then you can overcome the mental aspect of the addiction. You will get over your craving, your physical craving for sugars in about 2 weeks, maybe less. Mine only lasted about a week and a half, and I didn't think about sugar anymore. But then I slowly weaned down from keto to ketovore to carnivore over the years, and you can do it a lot faster. So my suggestion to the question is how to cut out carbohydrate addiction is you wean yourself off of it just like any drug addict weans themselves off of heroin, off of cocaine, off of nicotine, off of any drug that they're addicted to. If you can slowly reduce it to get to the point where you're at zero, you don't feel the withdrawal as terribly. When I quit coffee, I didn't do it right away or I would have had this terrible migraine type headache. I did it over 30 days and I mixed my caffeinated beans with my decaffeinated beans and I slowly replaced it until there were only decaf, and then I slowly took out the decaf and drank water, and now I don't drink anything in the morning. That was a year and a half ago. I don't even think about coffee anymore, but I didn't really get the withdrawal headache because I did it in gradual steps. I gave my body the time to deal with less and less and less. So my answer is to just do it gradually and do it through knowledge and education, and use an app if you have to, and count so that you know what your carb and sugar number is. Once you get used to counting, you look at food and you kind of say, oh, I know what that is. That probably has about 1 carb, has about this much fat and this much protein. You kind of know what your food's macronutrient content is because you've tracked it for so long. When you track things, you know, and you have control over it. So I hope that answered that question for that viewer, and I wish anybody luck. Ask me questions and I'll do my best to answer them in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content, click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and share this out to a friend so that more people can learn to eat right and take care of themselves and feel great like I do. Have a great day.